You're listening to Foxx on the Wire podcast. Are that your underpants hanging in the background there?
Is that underpants? No, that's my girlfriend's bathing suit, and then my rash guard.
Oh, nice
Her
one.
rash guard.
Yeah.
I wish it was my underpants. That would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah. Oh man, what time is it over there?
It is 9 now, 9 p.m. So you might hear some crickets in the background.
Yeah, they're pretty loud actually.
Yeah, should I try and scare them? Let me see.
What do you stomp your feet or something, don't you?
No, I just go like this. Hey! Shut the fuck up! It didn't work. I'll go inside. But, the reception's pretty good right now, so sometimes our Wi-Fi at our new place that we're at is not the greatest.
Yep.
Yeah, the crickets are so loud outside, I'm going to have to do it inside. There we go. That's much better.
It's adds a bit of ambience, I guess, the crickets outside.
Yeah, when they're a certain distance away, it does, but right now it seems like they're right beside the fucking microphone, so it's a little too much.
Yeah, they really cut through, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
All right. I'm on. I've got a little bit of time off at the moment from work, which is really good. I was actually sick last week, and now I'm good as gold now. So just enjoying some time off, some time away from the public, and we got some nice weather, and just trying to do all my things at home, like writing songs and get some podcast episodes happening, because I haven't done one for a couple of months now, since December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which, isn't that long ago, but it feels like a long time. So you're our first guest for the year.
Oh, wicked. How often do you usually put them out?
It's hard to say. Probably once a month, maybe. I sort of slowed down a bit last year just because, there wasn't much happening, and there was not much happening music-wise around, because gigs aren't really happening, and but I tried to keep, at least once a month. So you're the first one for 2022. Welcome back to the podcast, Tommy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've hit record, by the way. So.
Oh no, I know. I could see it. It gives me a little warning at the beginning when you hit record, and then it shows up in the left corner.
Yep. So lots to catch up on. I know we sort of keep in contact via the socials, but it's not the same as talking face to face or close to. You've made a few big changes in your life, and you're sort of in the middle of that now. Tell us what's been going on since last time we spoke to you, I think about a year ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really like talking about politics, but it's unavoidable these days. So, my life changes revolve around some sort of, everybody's life changes revolve around politics. So I'll just jump right in.
Yeah.
Basically, last year when things didn't reopen, we turned a bus into a mobile stage because venues were still not having live music. And it was a big risk, but it ended up being like the biggest fucking beacon of light that we had in 2021 for us, and for our community. I would say, like our music community at least, and there are people that like music, or that are like avid live music goers. So we kind of took that and did a summer of shows, like outdoor shows in the Okanagan, where we live. And after that, I decided that we're going to go across the country. And we didn't have, when we left, I think the day we left, we booked a show. And so we didn't have any shows leaving on this tour, but we were just going to go knock on people's doors go play in parks, go play on the beach, just wherever, and we came back with like basically the most profitable tour that we had ever done. And we had played 53 shows in 25 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, I was. You guys are fantastic with your socials and keeping the fans up to date with everything. So I was following what you guys were doing, and it looked incredible. And before we jumped on today, I sort of just went back and did a bit of research on you guys and sort of relived some of those posts that you put up. And I'm like, wow, look at this! Like, this is crazy to look back and see what you guys really strived and actually achieved and did. And the bus that you turned into a mobile stage, you gave her a name. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Carol.
Yeah,
her name's Carol. And I'll tell you the story about it, actually. So I was racking my brain, like trying to figure out, because I name all my guitars.
Yeah.
So every single guitar I have has a name, even like my bass guitar.
Wow.
Not to exclude her, And so I was like, well, we should give this bus a name. And so I was thinking about it for a while. And then one day I was at a bar where we played live before, and one of the waitresses said, "Oh my gosh, you're going around just caroling to people? You should name your bus Carol." And I was like, that's fucking genius. So that's what we did. I was like, yeah, I think that's going to be it. I mean, sure, if something better comes up, but that's pretty much a slam dunk in my eyes. So so that's why.
Cool. Yeah. Did you tell her at that time that you're going to actually name the bus Carol? Did you tell that lady?
Yeah, I did. I told her that was a great idea, and that if I did name the bus Carol, that I would let her know in the future, because I don't know if she's like actually on Facebook or Instagram, and I have her number. So we ended up getting like front page news when we first started, and so I sent her the article. Basically, that's how I told her.
Yeah. So do you keep in contact with her a little bit?
A little bit. I haven't gone back to the place since the passports were enacted in BC. So I haven't really seen. I mean, that was late September. Basically, when we came home, the passports were enacted, right? So so I kind of stopped going to the bar because whatever you think about the vaccine, I never wanted to get a QR code, and I just knew, what path we were going on, and so I kind of stopped doing that. And then when our prime minister announced that there was going to be mandatory QR codes to get on a plane, we booked it. We came down to Costa Rica, and that is the second part of my 2021 adventure.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where I am still.
Excellent. Yeah. Again, you've been keeping us up to date on your socials, and wherever you are in Costa Rica, it looks like paradise. It looks amazing. So, how long have you been down in Costa Rica?
Yeah, so we came down October 24th, if I remember correctly, like late October. And kind of the other reason we did it is because it had been a dream of mine to learn how to surf like properly for a long time. Like when we were touring Australia, I stayed an extra 3 weeks to do some surfing and also to like do some snorkeling and do some other stuff, some exploring around Australia. But yeah, speaking Spanish and surfing were like two of my like big bucket list items. And so, with another dark winter in sight, I convinced my girlfriend to ask her company for a sabbatical. And, we took off. So we've been here now for 3.5 weeks. we're officially surfers. I broke a fin on my surfboard the other day.
Yep.
So that's how you know you're a real surfer.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you had trouble getting that fixed, yeah?
Yeah, I did. It just took me a few days because we're like, initially, we've basically been like bouncing around a little bit. And we were initially in Guanacaste, which is on the West Coast. And there it's like a little bit more developed, I would say, a little bit more Americanized. There's like a direct flight that goes to a town called Liberia, and then that'll take you right to the beach pretty much. So that area is a little bit more like there's more things accessible, right? But we're currently on the Caribbean side, which is much less developed. And in this little town that we were in, there's like 1 or 2 surf shops. And I mean, you must know, I mean, actually, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but in North America, we're having like tons of disruptions for like the supply chains, right? And so they're experiencing that down here as well. Like I was trying to buy one of like the mouthpieces to film like GoPro videos. And they don't even have anything for GoPro 9 or 10. They only have things for like GoPro 7. They're having a hard time getting stuff shipped down here.
Yeah, no, we're the same down here.
Luckily, they have. Yeah, it's the same for you guys.
Yeah.
Luckily, they have lots of mango trees, banana trees, so we're not going to starve.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
Just picking fruit straight from the trees.
Yeah, there's a mango that fell outside of our door a couple days ago, or today maybe actually, and our neighbor picked it up and he already ate it.
Oh, what? Fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, you guys must have a little bit of that too. Do you have like, you guys have palm trees? You have like palm trees in like cans or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'd say like far north Queensland. I don't really know, but I think that's where a lot of the fruit picking and stuff is.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they've found it hard to get people into those jobs, because we haven't been really bringing anyone into the country. The borders.
Right, and usually it's right. It's usually what do you call it? Like almost like tourists or people that have like
backpackers and stuff.
1-year visas. That right.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's crazy. So. Are you guys seeing any like disruptions in the food supply? Yeah,
not fruit so much, I don't think, but meat and like you go into the supermarket and it's pretty empty in there, really. Whether that's due to transport or the actual direct supply of the meat and whatever, I'm not 100% sure, but. Yeah, right. And just general goods and things like that, like, with the board fins and stuff like that, just things that you sort of take for granted a lot of the time. You could just, you break something, whatever it might be, and, you just go down to the shop and get another one. It's not always that easy now for some reason. So, just one of the many challenges that we're facing around the world. And where do you start, man?
Where do we go from here?
I don't know. It's, like you said, you don't really talk about politics, and either do I. I have my my ideas of what I believe in and stuff, but usually I don't sort of openly talk about it. But I think politics has come crashing into all of our lives in some way or another. And you sort of can't ignore it now.
Let's talk about the beacon of hope then.
The truckers.
Yes! I don't know. It's my beacon of hope. I'm getting super slammed on Facebook today. But you know what? I decided to kill him with kindness. And my algorithm is off the charts in Facebook land. So yeah, I've basically made like my my most popular post in these music groups because I wrote a song about freedom and I posted it in all these music groups, kind of calling on, I don't know if you saw it, but just calling on all the rock bands to
to stand up and to say like, hey, do we believe in freedom or not? And I mean, I got slammed in those groups pretty hard. Like on my personal page, everybody was like really nice, and has been really nice since I stood up. But on these pages where there's, you know, it's people, and also like with the mass exodus of people off of Facebook, you can kind of imagine who's left using Facebook a little bit. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm telling myself. But you know, I think I made like a couple super fans out of it. So that's good.
Yeah.
You got to take chances, right?
Yeah. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I do know what to say, but I don't. It's such a crazy time. Like we're going through such a realignment around the world, such a big shift in so many ways. And I know what side I'm on. You know, I wish we didn't have to take sides, but it's just sort of panning out that way. Like, well,
that's because, I mean, that's because you have to. We're at the point, because I'm the same, man. I was like, I'm on the side of love, and I'm like, everybody's on that side, and I'm finding out, nope, not everybody's on the side of love, and not everybody's on the side of freedom. And so, all right, well, I know which side I'm on now. Like, and I can't believe that I'm the renegade out of this. That's the crazy thing. It's just like the guy who doesn't want to separate his audience, and who's actually a data analyst and analyst. All right, now I've lost all credibility. Who's actually a data analyst, and you know, who's like gone out of his house and like actually sampled people across the country to see how they actually feel with a rock and roll bus. And I mean, like I say, most of my fans are like super supportive and all that, but like, it's too bad that like we're separating people now based on freedom. It's just like freedom of choice and freedom of like bodily autonomy. And that's how we're dividing people now. Like that's how you know things are fucked. And if you don't stand up now, like, well, I guess enjoy the last few weeks of what you think like free means. I guess. I mean, I haven't said that. I wouldn't say like something like that out of context. Like now we're having like, I wouldn't say something like that on social media, but you know, we're having like a long form conversation. And so we can unpack what you might think that means, or like my actual thoughts on it. But yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, they treat these long form conversations like they're dangerous. You see what Joe Rogan's going through at the moment, you know,
man.
Where he just sits down and has conversations with experts. I'm sorry, but they are experts. They're actual doctors and whatever they might be. You know, I can't speak for the race stuff that he's been tied up in, but obviously that's a hit thing against him because they couldn't get him with the misinformation thing.
Well, they're just going to try every angle. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but they're just going to try every angle to take him down. They're going to try, you know, they're going to dig until they find something that they're like, let's see if this works. Right. And so, you know, I haven't even listened to those episodes where he says the N-word, and I don't even want to give my opinion on it. But the fact of the matter is just like, the guy's having conversations. People are actually listening. He's actually a good person. And you can tell if you're listening to him. Like I saw a post, somebody said, nobody's as passionate about Joe Rogan as people who have never listened to him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly true. And so I wish they just didn't even talk about it. That's my take on it, I guess. It's just like, just ignore it. Sure, your stock went down, but if you continue saying like, hey, we believe in free speech, we're moving like straight ahead, it would have bounced back so fast. It's just like, didn't we just have this experiment? Like, didn't we just have this experiment of like, oh, let's silence one thing. Oh, now let's silence another thing. Now let's silence one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing. And again, I'm not saying that it's wrong that they took their his however many episodes, 100, but it's just like, careful, we just went through this like 5 years ago. You know,
what pisses me off, I think, is not the racism stuff. Like, I'm not going to touch that. That was a long time ago, and you could really pull up a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle on that, and they only seem to go for one side, but I'm not going to touch that. But with the like stuff with Neil Young coming out, I notice no one actually says, let me come on your show, Joe, and I'm going to challenge your ideas or ideas of what the previous guests have said. Like, no one actually says, let me come on and challenge what you've been saying. They just want to shut him up, which makes me sus. It's like, you're just saying misinformation. Well, what the hell is misinformation? What's disinformation? Like, that's not an argument. You're not actually challenging anyone's ideas. And that's why a lot of people like Rogan's show, is because they get into those long form conversations, and Joe's essentially just letting the guest talk their expertise. Like, I was listening to someone he had on the other day, and they were talking about Atlantis and, you know, that whole thing, which I know nothing about, but it was fascinating. And I'm like, well, that's what you get from a Rogan podcast or Rogan style podcast, is all this information that you won't get really anywhere else. And I just think no one's actually got the balls to challenge this guy, like, face to face.
Well,
they just want to shut him up.
I mean, this kind of goes back to what you were saying about taking sides. It's just like, I'm kind of through with those people. It's just like, if you don't believe in freedom of speech and you won't let this guy talk, then all right, go away. Just go away. And honestly, like, I made a critical mistake, I think today or yesterday, about Neil Young. So I was like, I can't believe the guy singing "Keep on Rocking in the Free World" is doing this. And then and this was on like a LimeWire or Livewire article or something like that, and I got roasted for it. Loudwire, I think. I don't even know. It keeps coming up on my feed. I'm like, I don't care, guys. Stop showing me this shit. So anyways, I commented, and then I got roasted for it. And they're like, I can't believe like people have these lyrics confused. Like, go read the lyrics. And so I did, and I realized like that chorus is sung sarcastically. So did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So all the verses are basically talking about how shitty America is. And so when he says keep on rocking in the free world, it's in like a sarcastic way. Because like and I'm not saying there's not inequality in the States, and that they you know, we shouldn't like lift people out of poverty. Obviously we should do that. But basically I thought that the song, because I never really listened to Neil Young, but I thought the song was about rocking in the free world, but it's actually the opposite. He's basically saying, fuck you, America. Really? Or like, oh yeah, keep on rocking in the free world, like while everyone around you is in poverty. Right? Mind blown.
A little bit. I might have to look into that as well. I mean, I didn't know that. And
so I responded politely, and I was like, I'm sorry. Thank you for enlightening me. I didn't know he was always a communist. So thank you. So now it makes sense why he left and why he's with he sold half his catalog to the pharmaceutical industry. Like, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was reading about that, and it had something to do with BlackRock, didn't it? Like a subsidiary of BlackRock or something like that bought half his catalog or something.
That's right. So it's not like it's not Pfizer, but it's the ex-CEO of Pfizer that owns. Yeah, so he's like that owns this company, or he's the CEO of the company, and yeah, man, it's scary shit what's happening. Like the pharmaceutical companies and the elites now own music that people think is about the free world, when in reality it's about like destroying the free world.
I think I was
like how fucking blown is your mind? It's just like, this is a movie.
Oh, big time. Yeah, we're actually in a movie.
Yeah.
No doubt. And I reckon last time we spoke, I was talking to you, I can't remember who it was, but someone had just sold maybe their whole catalogue or something like that. And then I've seen it happen more and more in the last year, Neil Young being one of them. I think Bruce Springsteen might have been another one. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah, well, he walked out. I think he walked out as well recently.
It's like, why are these people selling their catalogues? And I don't know who they sold them to, but when I looked a little bit more into Neil Young's, who brought part of his catalogue, I'm like, what is going on here? So, it's pretty interesting, and I think people should read a little bit more into it. It's not just Neil Young taking some moral, or what he thinks is some moral stand. There's a bit more behind it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you say things like people should look more into it, it's just like, that's the other thing too that I've kind of given up on, is like trying to convince somebody of anything. Because I've realized that having like long form conversations like this is not like, well, you and I would probably agree on a lot of things, but like I had a friend over a couple weeks ago, and we disagreed on a lot of things, maybe not everything, but a lot of things. And at the end of it, I realized like, well, it's not his job to convince me, and it's not my job to convince him, but by having the conversation amicably, each of us are going to move 1% in a certain direction, right? And that's how we evolve, and that's how we become like better humans all the time. But I think because of this like clip era that we're in, right? Everyone's like, okay, it's black or white. Which one is it? Which side are you on? Right. And so again, I guess we come back to the sides. It's like, yeah, I'm on the side of free speech, because there's no sides. That's the side. Unless you want to try communism again.
Yeah, I don't understand how we've sort of ended up so divided, like on for free speech as well. It doesn't mean I agree with, anyone who says anything. Like, it doesn't mean, but they've got a right to say it, I believe. And I don't think we learn anything by silencing or trying to silence people and berating them and just totally abusing them and shutting them up. I don't think we learn and get better as a society from that sort of behavior. But for some reason, it's quite prevalent at the moment, especially. And they go for the top dogs like Rogan, who have a massive audience. They don't care. They just want to shut him up.
Right.
And again, that's what irks me, is no one actually challenges the ideas. It's just shut him up, get rid of him, and we don't want to hear from him. We've got the option not to listen. People can just not fucking listen to him. Go and watch CNN or whatever propaganda you want to listen to. You don't have to listen to Rogan, but a lot of people want to. So what's the problem?
Right. Well, this is my theory of why it's happening. People need something to fight for. And I wrote a song about it during the pandemic, because that's when I kind of realized, holy shit, like people can't go to work anymore. They can't follow their dreams. And all they're left with, and they can't even fight with people face to face. They can only fight with people online, right? And so when you take away everybody's battles, they're gonna fight in different ways. They're gonna go after people, right? And if people are isolated, and then you start encouraging tribalism, because this is what we're living like. The whole like, oh, are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? Like, it's fucking tribalism, right? And so you start going down that path, and then you're like, okay, are you on our tribe? Here's who we're targeting today. Go. Right. And then you feel like you have a sense of community, and you have you have something to fight for. And so you get this little reward inside of you called dopamine. And then you go and you have a massive low. And the next day you're like, I want another dopamine hit. Who are we fighting today? Right. Yeah. Instead of building something brick by brick and having like tiny doses of satisfaction. And then at the end, seeing like something that you've built, it's much easier to destroy things, and you get much more reward, like, dopamine, let's say, reward out of it.
But eventually, and I think it's already happening, like you'll run out of people to go for, to try and take down on the other side of that.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, and then eventually they're going to start eating their own, which they are. I've got to say, it's beautiful to watch. But again, it's not the way forward, I don't think, in a civil society, which I thought we lived in, but I don't think we do anymore. And we probably haven't for a while. It's just really obvious now. And I know which side I'm on. That's just what's in my heart, and that's the way it's going to be. So, and
man. Well, it's been crazy. Like I've been pretty stressed out, I would say, and pretty anxious since the beginning of the pandemic. But it reached new levels once the passports were actually enacted, because, I've always been pretty optimistic about people in general. And I just held on to this hope that nobody's going to let this go. Like, people are going to stand up. Like, nobody's going to allow this to happen. Right. And then when it went through and 2 weeks went by and all the protests dispersed, I was like, are you kidding me? Is this actually what's happening? And so all this anxiety started to build up inside again. And that's when we left. We're like, I can't handle this. I can't be online. Winter's coming, so I'm not going to be able to tour. And I know they're going to lock us down again. I just know, because I looked at the data, and I looked at all this stuff. And I mean, I feel for the average person, man, that either doesn't look at the data or doesn't know how to make sense of it, or doesn't have time, has 3 kids and a dog. And it's just I don't have time to look at anything, so I can feel for that. But man, it was time for me to leave. And this is where I was going with this long story. It's just ever since I saw the convoy, the truckers convoy, and I decided I'm giving this my all right now, freedom or nothing. I feel so good. And I'm more creative than ever. And I'm more loving than ever too. All these haters I was telling you about on Facebook, man, I gave him so much love. I was just stay free, thanks for your opinion, whatever. What else am I going to tell them? To go fuck themselves? No. What's that going to do? Nothing. So, man, it's been incredible. Because again, I need something to fight for, And so now I feel like I got my community, people that believe in freedom. And it's just all those haters that want communism. All right. Keep yelling on Facebook. We're in the streets. Yeah. And, see what happens.
Yeah. And I think, seeing the freedom protests all around the world, which the mainstream media won't show you, or they'll dilute it, saying hundreds of protesters when they're actually probably hundreds of thousands. It's been really heartwarming to see that. And I think it's in a lot of countries, around the world. It's not just Canada now with the truckers. Yeah. It is around the world, even in Belgium, I think. And, there's massive pushback
New Zealand
from the
of all
people.
places.
Yep. There's massive pushback, and I know in Australia now, in Canberra, which is, where our parliament our federal parliament is, there's massive protests, and that's really heartwarming for people like you and me, I think, who just want to see a free world. We don't want big government control. Government
That's right.
basically ruined our lives in the last couple of years, and really encroached on our civil liberties, and we had generations of people that fought for those civil liberties and our rights, and we're just sort of handing them away, letting the government take them again. And I just can't believe there's a portion of the population that agrees with that. I just don't. I'm like, where did these people come from? I don't understand it.
They were always there.
Yeah.
It's just they were given the green light to be the boss. That's literally what happened. Like, all their lives, they're sitting at the kitchen table. They're like, Grandpa, you're wrong, or like, Dad, you're wrong, like about the free world and needing the Second Amendment and blah blah blah. You're wrong about all of that, right? And then that would be the end of it. You're just like, yeah, go back to your room, basically, right? But now the government basically told them, like, you've been right this whole time, and now you get to yell whatever you want. You don't need any arguments. You don't need any like logic. You just have to repeat what we're telling you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad to see that our government is stooping this low. Like, I never really had much trust for our governments, and I just thought they were immature and just playing around. And it doesn't take long. You look at their debates, 4 years ago, if you like ever tuned in, and it looks like a high school. Yeah. And so you're like, thanks for wasting my taxpayers' money, but you kind of just like, what am I going to do? Right? Like, you just get in your bus and you go play your show, right? You're just like, they're idiots. Everyone knows it. Just let them talk, and hopefully they don't tax us again this year. But in 2021 or late 2020, things got real. It's just like, okay, this is what you're doing now.
Yeah,
like, nah, not to me. Not to me.
Yeah, I thought we all had a healthy distrust of the government around the world. I thought we were all sort of on that same page, and all right, the governments are over there doing their thing. They're kind of not looking after us best they could be. They're not really working for us, but we all kind of gone on with our lives. And then in the last couple of years, it got real, and we sort of could really see what's going on, what their plan is, what they're doing, what they're rolling out. And when I saw like people basically defending the government and what they were doing, I'm just like, really? I don't understand. I thought we all had a healthy distrust of the government, and now my distrust is even more, to the front. Like, there's no way I trust these bastards all around the world. Look what they're doing. And, they're shutting down your business while they're still getting their paycheck. And bonuses probably, and, taking stuff inside from Big Pharma and God knows what else. So,
and I mean, it's the thing. Like, it's just like the thing that did it for me, and I don't even know if I knew at the time why it upset me so much, but I think it was Jordan Peterson that said this. He basically said that humans regulate each other's brains and social interactions by having social interactions, right? And so if you think like you and your 9 friends are at a barbecue, and one of you says something so dumb that, your friend Kyle says something so dumb that everyone around is just like, oh my gosh, Kyle, you are so dumb, right? And he says something like, the earth is flat or whatever, right? And everyone around him says, you are a dummy, right? And then Kyle thinks to himself, oh shit, it's 9 against 1. I guess the earth's not flat, right? Or maybe I need to do more research, right? And then the following week, you say something stupid like, well, John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the CIA. And all the other 9 are like, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Everyone laughs, ha, 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 right? And so whatever you think about those two things, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is you have your group of friends. As a group, you're relatively like stable. Once in a while, somebody steps out of line, and the other 9 are there to regulate the sanity of the group and what is real and what isn't real. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just sort of on your own in your own little echo chamber, and no one's there to sort of challenge you, basically.
So, exactly. So now, take your group away. All you have is online communication, right? Which is controlled and it's censored. Everyone knows that. But not only that, when you're online, you only get to use 7% of your communication medium, because 7% is the words. About 30, I think it's 42% is your tone, right? And the rest is body language. So if you think about it, okay, we're locking everybody down. You stay home. You can only see one person. What do you think happens? Everyone goes crazy. Yeah. And then if you think you're going crazy, you go online and you realize, holy shit, it's even crazier online. I'm just going to not go online and isolate in my house and just watch Netflix. And what do you think happens? You still go crazy because you need to see other people. So that was the line in the sand for me. Like when our government in BC said that you can only have 6 people in your house at a time, I was like, no, I'm not abiding by this. No, I'm sorry. I'll wear your stupid mask for 15 minutes in the grocery store to make your grandpa feel safe. But like, this is too far. And because I knew what was happening. And I mean, everybody's waking up now, and it's really good to see. And, people just need time. And, and some people are ahead of me, and other people were ahead of them. And we just got to stay like, stay kind and be patient to those people who aren't waking up, and to the ones who are yelling, fuck your freedom. Just don't even comment on those people. It's just like push them aside, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, like even Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of those people, screw your freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And like you listen back, I mean, they're still doing it, these government people that come on TV, whether it be in Canada or Australia here. You listen to some of the things that come out of their mouth, like you can only have 6 people in your house. Like imagine that a few years ago. It's like, what? How are you going to even control that? But we did it. We listened to what they say. Most of us did anyway. And we didn't have people over. And we did, and we still do wear a mask. And like, imagine how that's fucked with human communication between each other. Like having a mask over your face, and you can't see people's expressions, can't see people smile. And now they're doing it to the kids.
And that's exactly right. Like what I was telling you about communication, like tone and body language is like over 70% of your communication. So you put a mask over half your face and you think no big deal, except now you can't tell if somebody is smiling at you genuinely. Like people are like raising their eyes more so that you can know if they're smiling, but you still like, you need your full face to be able to communicate. And then your tone, obviously, everything gets muffled. People are like, "Oh, that's a small price to pay to reduce the spread of the virus." And maybe that was true back in March 2020. But when you see statistics now coming out that speech impediments are up by 350% and more in kids because of masks, it doesn't say because of masks, but they're up. And you start to wonder, Well, maybe the masks weren't such a good idea, especially since they didn't stop the spread.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, small price to pay. All right, maybe for a little while. But you and I, we grew up, had our childhood pretty much unimpeded for the most part. And, we didn't have to go through this mask phase, but now the kids do. Like, you can only imagine what that's going to do to them in so many different ways, and what that's going to do to their development. Like, I hate it as an adult. It's traumatizing. To me, I don't just wear it because I've got to wear it and say, okay, I've got to wear this. That's it. Bottom line. It's just not something that I can accept. I challenge it, and I can't live with it. I don't like it, and I'm not going to accept it, even though to a point I have to.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. If any of that stuff actually had decent efficacy, people wouldn't be standing up like they are right now. And the movement wouldn't be as big as it is. And if there were no side effects to wearing masks, if we actually if the people that are saying like just wear a mask, like it doesn't do you any harm, how hard could it be? If all those people were right, then people wouldn't be standing up. It's not a bunch of dummies that are standing up in the street. Like, look at me. Like, I got a bachelor's of science in engineering, like, and I don't like to fucking flaunt it, but like, don't come at me with your government, like regurgitated bullshit. Like, I'll tear you apart, and so I don't know, man. Like I have a nephew. I don't have any kids, but I have a nephew, and he actually is a little behind on his on talking. And when I saw that study, man, it just broke my heart. I'm just like, fuck, like, because this is only the beginning. Like, this is only the beginning of what we're gonna see, like how this is gonna impact. And all this data about how effective masks were, like, that's been out for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So what really enrages me is the fact that the politicians just hid all of that stuff away. And it's just it's really sad. They've caused more damage than the market collapse of 2008 in the United States, like the stock market collapse, but the housing bubble. Like, these last 2 years have been worse than that. But like, it's not debatable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, oh man, it's going to take years to get back. Like, even now that like people are dropping mandates and like in Canada and like other states, like, I mean, dude, I see people on the beach here where like the sunbathing with a mask on. Just like, that's how much you've terrorized people. Yeah. You've terrorized people so much that they're going to Costa Rica. I don't know if this is a local or not, but they're laying on a beach in Costa Rica. There's not a single peep around them, and they're wearing a mask while they're sunbathing. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, people are already. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know what that is. What is that? I mean, why do some of? Yeah. They've traumatized us, but you know, most of us are adults as well. So why don't we have that? Well, some of us do. Why don't we have that thing in our brain that says, "All right." Like, why that guy on the beach that you saw? Like, why is he doing that? He's been traumatized. All right, we all have. But why? Yeah. What's missing in his brain that says, "All right, this is stupid. I'm going to take my mask off." Like, what's going on there? It's a psychology thing, obviously.
Well, it's I think it's a personality thing. So there's a personality trait called agreeableness, and so people who are very agreeable are more likely to just do what they're told, right? And they're less confrontational. And so if you get in a fight with them, even if they disagree with you, they're just going to agree with you because they don't want confrontation, right? And so it's just that some people are very agreeable, and if they get afraid enough, or if they get fed enough fear, they will do whatever it takes to not feel that fear, right? And to not face it as well. So it doesn't mean that they're cowards or stupid or whatever. They're just not agreeable. And so that's why we're seeing like so many scientists that are going along with this. It's not because they're dumb. Like, I have a friend of mine who's just bashing me the other day because I supported a convoy, and she's got a double major. And so, you know, I mean, she's not that smart either, but like, you know, I think, I don't know, I don't want to divulge her GPA, but let's go with like, then this is the thing, just because somebody has a double major in something, it doesn't mean that they're that smart. It's just like, well, I have a biology degree, and so you should listen to me. Really? How did you graduate? With a D minus? All right.
I don't know, man. I mean, I've got no qualifications, obviously, and I'm not a confrontational person, but at some point, like you said earlier, we've got to speak up. And I guess that's why I'm sort of like, this is a music podcast, but all this, all this crap has come crashing into our lives. It's taken away so much, you know, it's taken away our dreams. And at the end of the day, it is political. And, you know, I just think, like, in my heart, I know that a lot of this is wrong. And that's where I come from as a musician, for my love of music, for my love of humanity. And I like sharing music with the world. Everything I do comes from my heart, and I know that all this is wrong. So it's like, all right, well, I'm going to push back against it, you know, best I can. I'm not on the socials every day, you know, hammering what I think my message is. That's not who I am, I don't think. But this is an open conversation, and at the end of the day, I think all this crap has affected what we love to do, and that's music, and it's come crashing into our lives, and I think we need to talk about it. And I know I can talk about that with you. There might be pushback from people who listen to this, and all right, fair enough, but you know, we might get censored on Spotify and have a COVID warning message on there, but that's what we're living in now.
Yeah, I don't even think we've talked about anything that controversial. But I mean, this is all shit that CNN is saying now, so it's no longer a conspiracy theory. Or the CDC. But, you know, to bring it back to music, like, I think we've lost another reason why people are going crazy, including myself. Like, you know, I'm not trying to exclude myself. I'm trying to stay in check every day by like having conversations like this, right? Because if I say something way out of line, you're going to be like, hey, Tommy, I agree with a lot of what you say, but this is kind of crazy. And then because I like you and I respect you, I'm going to be like, okay, I'll think on that one, right? But one thing that I'm really saddened about is that there's a lot of people that don't prescribe to any religion and any church, let's say, right? And I'm one of those people. And my spirituality is music. And I think a lot of people, that is true for a lot of people, and they've lost that for 2 years. Can you imagine somebody who's like a church goer not being able to go to church for 2 years and then to their congregation? Like, I don't know what would have happened to them. Probably, I don't know. Yeah. And this is what's kind of happening. It's just like when you start closing churches, I wrote a song about it recently. And basically the first verse is, everyone wants a savior, but no one wants to go to church. So be on your best behavior, because there are some new gods here on this. Right. And I mean, I don't know, to me, that's what it looks like. Because before, you could be like, okay, my God is Foo Fighters, or my God is Ed Sheeran or Justin Bieber. That's where I go to release all my or to take in all my spirituality, right? Because I don't like Christianity for X and X and X or Y reason, whatever, right? X, Y, and Z. And now you take that away, no dancing, no singing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is happening? What do you think is
Yeah, again, the things that come out of these politicians' mouths, it's crazy. No singing, no dancing at these clubs. You must not stand up and have a beer. You must sit down.
Yeah.
Like, just the gaslighting is fucking incredible. And we're still living with it. Like, they've been doing this for 2 years, traumatizing us, and they're still doing it. And if you haven't picked up by now that these people are full of shit, basically, well, but yeah, like, and they've shut down churches, like you said. You know, I haven't been to a concert for God knows how long, and that's music is my spiritual connection, religion, whatever you want to call it, as well. You know, and they've just stomped all over it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, man. Like, if you don't have any spirituality, what do? You look for a godly figure in your environment, and apparently that's Justin Trudeau for Canada right now, and Andrew's something for you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, literally, if people haven't seen that, well, that's the thing. The people that don't see it, they're not going to see it, and that's what I was telling you like a few minutes ago. It's just like, don't even bother. Don't even bother. There's lots of people who are awake, and it's time to just go find those people.
Yeah.
Go find them, talk to them, and then build a group. And then once the group has 4 members, somebody who's been afraid to speak up is going to be like, what are those guys talking about? And then he's going to come join in and be like, are you guys talking about conspiracies? Yeah, okay, I have one. Like, I don't think masks work. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, that's not a conspiracy. And then it's going to be 6, and then 10, and then 20, and then truckers arrive. So
Hong Kong.
Exactly.
Sorry, the great honking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful now. Like, you know, I've seen lots of videos from Ottawa, and people are dancing and singing. And, you know, people are religious, they're praying, good for them. And, I think it's important to forget, or it's important to remember that the government's not our God. And if you don't have a God, that's okay. And I don't have one. Music's my God, I suppose.
I thought we already knew that. Like, I thought that was already the consensus with most people, that the government aren't our gods. Like, I don't know how that's seemingly changed. Maybe it's just like some of these politicians that are seemingly worshipped, they're the worst kind of people. Like Trudeau, like, look at him scatter away to his little hiding spot because he got COVID. You know, when all the truckers come to town, like, a real leader would actually go out there and face his people. Yeah. But something's not right there. Like, it's clear as day to me. I don't know why that's challenging for other people.
I think it's clear, and this is the thing that we have to remember, is that it's what you see online isn't real. And so, and that's why I basically spent all day replying to haters, and it did not affect me at all, because I live in the real world now. I decided that, I don't know, like, I think I would say when Carol came along, like when I started working on Carol, I'm like, I'm going back into the real world. And every time I have conversations with people in the real world, it's not like online. And so, like, there was this lady the other day at the bar that was getting like ambushed by these 2 anti-truckers. And I was like, kind of eavesdropping a little bit. I mean, we were on the table next to them, so it's hard not to. And afterwards, I came up to her and I was like, hey, I noticed you were getting ambushed about truckers. And she's like, she was kind of like, what do you say? Like kind of just retreating almost in her seat. She's like, well, what do you think about the truckers? And I told her what I thought. And I was like, don't worry, you're not alone. I'm sorry that this happened to you, that these two, I don't even know what they said to her, but, she seemed like she was getting ambushed. And so I was like, whatever happened, you're not alone. And thank you for spreading the word of freedom. And she was so thankful that I did that. And so we just got to keep doing that. Like, stick up for each other, stick up for freedom, whatever, stranger, doesn't matter. Just go out of your way right now to build true community, genuine community.
Yeah, just like sort of empower each other, really. I mean, at the end of
and fuck the keyboard warriors. Like the keyboard warriors, like they were there 5 years ago. They were just battling about different things. They were trolling about video games or who the best guitarist is. Like, they go on and be like, Jimi Hendrix sucks. Fucking Jimmy Page is the best Jimmy. And it was like fun and games back then. But now they've been allowed to tell you what to put in your body and that what they think, because they heard it from CNN or CBC, is the truth. And that's it. So it's just like, it was fun and games when you were telling me that you think Jimmy Page sucks or Jimi Hendrix sucks. Because I disagree with you, but I'll get past it. But don't tell me how many people I can have in my house.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround, and I think I hate to use that term at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, most of us just want to be left alone to live our lives, not be told what to do. You have to still be a good person. Yeah. Don't be a shit person. Yeah. But just leave me the fuck alone. I just want to do my thing, and I'll try and be the best person I can be. But don't tell me what I've got to put in my body. Don't tell me what I've got to put on my face. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll try and get along and just live our lives. It's not really complicated, but we've just been encroached on, and people who follow the government have encouraged us to dob on each other and police each other and monitor each other, and that's so unhealthy. And unfortunately, a lot of people have taken that task upon themselves to, judge their fellow citizen and dob them in for whatever it might be, and it's pretty disgusting. Yeah,
well, and that's it, right? It's just it's time to keep your eyes open for the guy who's the first one to take his mask off, and so that you're ready. And if you don't want to be the first, then you keep your eyes open for the guy who's first and you go second, right? And you get start talking to your friends, and who's third.
Yep.
And
empowering
then
each other.
Just be a chain reaction. Just be a chain reaction after that. Yeah. Because there's only a few Karens. They've just been given like this massive torch, but they're cowards.
Yeah,
Karens are cowards. There you go. That should be a hashtag. Karens are cowards. Don't worry about them.
What's the male version of Karen? Is it Kevin, or is that just in Australia?
Might be Kevin, Kyle, or Ken.
Ken, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Kevin though.
Well, we could just call them Karens as well. If they're going to be such cowards, the male versions deserve to be called Karen as well.
That's true. Yeah, because most dudes just don't give a shit. They give less fucks. They're just like, I don't want to engage.
Yeah, well, it's pretty incredible scenes in Canada, like in Ottawa. I think I've seen mostly with the truckers in the freezing cold. Like, I've never lived in that sort of below zero temperature, so I can only imagine how freaking cold they are. And then you see some of their diesel fuel has been confiscated. So it's just incredible scenes, man. Like, it's really incredible to watch from the other side of the world. But how do you think it's going to play out?
It's hard to say because the pressure is going to continue. as much as they can. I mean, I couldn't believe that they shut down the GoFundMe page. I think a lot of people were surprised by that. Like, it's the single biggest act of political corruption that Canada's ever seen. So that was really it was frightening, or it was like discouraging, because we've kind of been on a roller coaster. We're watching from Costa Rica, obviously, right? And the first few days when it was starting, like before they got to Ottawa, man, it was the most hopeful I'd been in 2 years, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, like more than when I was driving around Carroll. I was like, holy cow, we are about to be free again, right? And so that's when I started making my post. I'm like, it's now or never. Like, everybody needs to stand up. And if I'm calling my friends to stand up, then that's not enough. Like, I need to throw everything at this. And I mean, I have like this other channel that has 200 followers that's like beach music. And it's like, I don't know, it's not really going to do any good, I don't think. But like, I have a rock band, and like rock is about freedom, you know? And so like, it's time to like and I've been like holding this back. And also we'd kind of like, you know, thrown in a couple breadcrumbs, like on our last tour with Carol, we called it the No Passports Allowed tour.
Yeah.
Right. And so we'd kind of been like testing the waters of like, are you guys ready for this yet? You know? So when I saw the passport, or when I saw the trucker convoy, I was like, hell yeah, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then I see things like the corruption of the GoFundMe, and now the jerry cans. But man, this movement, if it stays peaceful and loving and they're organized, I think they might win. Like we might get everything taken away, and it's going to keep growing. Like, I just saw a video of people like just carrying, everybody's got jerry cans now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw the update, but like everybody's carrying jerry cans. They're empty, but they're all carrying them to the protest as like, you know, fuck you to authority. Yeah. And also, you know, I've been watching their press releases, and they're saying that a lot of cops are getting ready they're like stop coming into work, or they're getting ready to quit, because the protest is peaceful and the demands are not really, you know, they're not that crazy. They just want no mandates and no passports.
Yeah.
And we know that neither of them have worked. So, you know, and so police know, like, people are awake, man, and they just need somebody with a big torch and 500 people behind them to be like, okay, I'm there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a way, we have to empower the good politicians. That there's probably very few, but we have to sort of get behind them and empower them. I mean, at the end of the day, they're supposed to be working for us. You know, it's you almost forget that sometimes. Yeah. And I see, like, in Canada there, I think I read that some of the towing companies refuse to come in and tow some of the trucks. Yeah, just little things like that are so empowering and important. And it's like, yeah, let's fucking do this. And
and this is the thing, man. Like, everybody, you know, what we say, like, it seems like everyone is brainwashed. It's like, well, actually, no. There's like 5 or 10% of the population that are brainwashed, and they're just loud. So when you start like getting the other side, the other 5 or 10% who wants to be loud but has been told to shut up, when they finally come out and say, no, this is actually what's right, the other 80% of the people are going to be on that side. Right? So I think that's what's happening right now. It's just people are like, yeah, we're fed up too. Like, and we'll join, or we'll donate, or we'll do whatever we can. We'll fucking, you know, make posts from Costa Rica.
Yeah. But
like,
I mean,
whatever. What?
You know, a lot of these companies are really showing us who they are, like GoFundMe. So fuck those guys now. We know who you are. You know, and the social media companies, the big tech guys, you know, we know they can't control the narrative forever, and it's definitely crumbling. You know, the news, the mainstream media, they can't control it. You know, they can suppress it, they can hide it, but it's still happening, and it's happening all around the world. So let's go truckers, and hopefully they don't send in the military and it goes all crazy. I don't know what's going to happen, but
well, the military has said that they're not going to go in to disperse the protests in Canada. So, I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I'm staying hopeful, you know, but you asked me like how I think this is going to go. Yeah, I think it's growing right now. As long as they stay peaceful and like they continue, because they're actually working with the police. Like whenever somebody gets violent, they point them out and they're like, hey, police, can you please, this guy's getting agitated and violent, you know, because there's people that are infiltrating the protests that don't belong there. Right. And obviously those people are getting amplified on the mainstream media. But yeah, man, this protest is like very organized and they're peaceful and they're loving and they just continue telling people like stay peaceful, stay loving, stay Canadian. So yeah, I'm hopeful. They're fucking smart too. Like the Jerry Camp thing, I'm like, fuck, dude, that is so smart.
And I think, you know, those of us that are on the side of freedom and aren't the ones that are used to doing protests and that sort of thing. And I think it's taken a little while for us to get better at it. And you can see now, like with the truckers, like they're organized, they know what to do, they know what they need, they know what they shouldn't be doing or what they should be trying to keep out. And, you know, they've just got better at it. And maybe that's why it's taken so long for a lot of people to sort of stand up. You know, we're 2 years into this thing now, and it's almost like we've just been steamrolled for a year and a half, 2 years, and we haven't done anything to stand up. But I think it's maybe taken a bit of time to learn how to. We haven't had to do it, really. I mean, up until 2 years ago, we've been, for the most part, free, I think. And we haven't, Yeah, well, I mean, my thoughts on that is because it's just been planned perfect. It's been planned really well. You know, just take out one thing at a time. Just little guys. Start with the musicians because nobody gives a shit about them. Like, I mean, let's be honest. You know, it's fine. Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying, like, you know, most people are just like, yeah, I can do without live music. Like, I'll just watch YouTube, right? And then next thing, you take out small businesses and you're like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just cook from home or I'll get takeout, whatever. And then you start taking out doctors or like people in the medical industry, right? And you're like, well, you work for the government, so you don't have a choice. Just one guy at a time until you get to the truckers, until you get to like 80 to 90% vaccination, right, in the country. And you're like, okay, good. 85% of the people are going to do what we tell them to do. And so we're going to take one more step. And they just made a mistake, basically. Like, they should have taken somebody else out first, or, you know, they should have maybe mandated only a certain amount of truckers at a time. They just made a mistake. That's why this is happening, because otherwise, I don't know that they would have gotten to 100, but, you know, they could have made more damage. So I'm glad they made a mistake, I guess. Yeah. So you guys released your second album earlier this year. Shallow and Deep.
Correct. Yes, sir. It's been
sorry,
it's been good. It was a good release. Luckily it happened before this big protest. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. I picked the date perfectly. I didn't even know. But yeah, release date was January 7th. And it felt so good, man. Like, just this album, I've been working on it for so long, and just delay after delay, pandemic. I had a drummer change, and then a bunch of other shit, kind of, you know, a bunch of other blockades, basically. So yeah, it was good to finally get it out there, and because I already have like another album ready, so it was time. It was like, okay, let's get this one out and start working on a new one. And yeah, so it was good. It was well received. Like the guy that we took on tour with us in September with Carol, he's actually not in our band, but he called me while I was in Costa Rica, and after I released it, and he's just like, showered me with compliments, and he's a good musician that I admire. So it was really nice to hear that, especially from him.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm excited to tour it. Coming back to Canada in March. Yep. So gonna gear up Carol again and start knocking on doors. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good to put it out there.
Now that's what you call taking the music to the people.
With Carol.
With Carol, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I want to build like a strong fan base and genuine community. So, and I toured around with Facebook ads for a couple of years and stuff like that. But man, the bus is like, it's just something else. It's so, it's like everything in one. Like it's the marketing. You don't have to do any marketing because the bus markets itself. Then you get to do shows. You don't have to book the shows. You just show up, and most people say yes. Like it's like 97% yes, which is crazy. Because when I thought of the idea, I was like, building up my tough skin, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to knock on 9 doors to get one yes, right? And yeah, it was the opposite basically. So I was pleasantly surprised, and it was kind of, part of me is kind of scared that not scared that things are going back to normal, but just like, okay, well, I guess we had one good year of using the bus, and now things are going to go back to normal. We're going to have to find a new use for the bus. But I mean, unfortunately, we're going to be hosting fortunately, I guess we're going to be hosting other people because so many live music venues have closed down. And so we're the music venue now. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, like a couple of musicians that I know are like, I want to come. Like, I don't have anywhere to play. So
yeah.
So we're going to be taking it out no matter what this spring. And I'm trying to go down as far as Mexico. So we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in Costa Rica now. So are you going back to Canada in March, which is next month?
Yeah.
Actually? Shit.
Yeah. I'm going back in March. I mean, as long as there's not a civil war, but yeah. I mean, I'm going back even if there is, I suppose, unless I somehow can't get on a plane. But yeah, so I'm going back in March, and then going to gear up the bus as soon as I get home. Hopefully there's no more quarantine by then. Hopefully that garbage is done. I'm going to try to do 1,000 shows this year.
1,000?
1,000, yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, right. Oh man, I miss the live music. I miss it.
Come on down. Can you get out of the country? Are you able to?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really miss it, man. Like, and I know we're not just going to step back into it, because things have just changed so much, and mindsets have changed. And I mean, the live music scene was tough before all this. It wasn't easy to get people out, and
right.
It's just not going to be easy we've got to change things up, like what you guys are doing. I think that's fantastic. And, and I know you recently joined Free the Nation Music with Ben Mitchell.
Yeah.
That's hopeful. Hopefully we can, I can see it's building. Like, you guys have jumped on board and constantly bringing in new artists. So that's a hopeful thing. And I hope we can build that. And I think that's a really positive thing. So I'm hoping to get Ben on the podcast as well soon to talk about his story and what his plans are.
Sweet, man.
So yeah,
dude, I just had an idea.
Yeah,
between you and him, you guys should build your own carol in Australia, and for real, and go around. And then once you think you're done going around, like you think you've like saturated your market, which you won't, not with this idea. But let's say you're like, I'm tired of touring Australia. Call me and we'll do like a bus exchange. I'll fly down to Australia, you fly up to Canada, and we'll swap buses.
Yeah.
It'll be packed with, all you got to bring is your guitar, and it'll have everything else, speakers, everything.
Man, it's
when
not
the world figures itself out, and dude, can you imagine? That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's going to take. Like I said, things aren't just going to go back to normal. And in the live music scene, normal wasn't the best thing anyway. So, we've been forced, I think, to come up with new ideas, new way of doing things. And because, I'm not going to stop playing music. I haven't stopped writing music.
Right.
And if anything, I've been writing more. I don't have the outlet for it, like in a live music sense, like I used to. And you probably see me online, or don't see me, more to the point. I'm pretty shy with my online performance things. I look what you guys do, and it's pretty incredible. But I'm a little bit more reserved.
For whatever reason, people like me. People like mystery, dude. It's all good. You do you know? Yeah. Like part of me always thinks like maybe I should be more mysterious. Like that seems to work for people. But to each their own.
Yeah, you're good at what you do, man. And I'd love to see you guys pop up online, and I think it works for you. But I'm just not that outgoing at the moment. I can see where I could get to a point where I might be a little bit more outgoing, but by the time I get to pick up my guitar and, lock myself in this room, I'm just doing it for me, and I'm just in my own little world. I don't get inspired to pick up the camera and share that as much, which is a good and bad, but, I would like to share a bit more, but not right now, unfortunately.
Well, if it's any consolation, the stuff that you do share is always really good quality. Like I commented, I think on the last post I saw maybe yesterday or something, but I was like, I don't know what kind of camera you use, or if you just use your phone, but whatever you're doing, man, it's always good. It looks good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
But seeing you guys do what you do, you in particular, I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing it anywhere near enough. So you're someone I look up to, and I know we all do our own thing, and I'm cool with that. But I also know that I would like to share a bit more than I do. So, but I do escape into my own little world, and that's just who I am. So yeah.
Well, man, like you've inspired me to think about really starting a podcast. So, thank you for that, man. Like, and that's the thing, like everybody's got their own kind of thing. And so don't be too hard on yourself. Just, just work hard and enjoy the process. Like that's one thing that I definitely am grateful for. Like in the pandemic, like it's really made me realize, I don't want to be spending all my time learning how to do ads. I want to write music, and I want to perform in front of people, and I want to record. Like I want to do those three things. And so I figured out a way to do the things that I love, and now I just do that all the time. And so, I mean, I have more, like I like doing videos and I like taking photos. So I do that, but like, I like, I did some Facebook ads for the album because it was a big drop and stuff like that. So it's not like I don't do any of that, but I basically went from 60 to 80% of my time was like booking shows, doing ads, and what else? Like, I guess like filling out spreadsheets and like accountability or accountant kind of shit or whatever, building websites and all that kind of shit. I basically went from like 80% that to now I do like 20% of that. And the other 80 is like writing music, performing, making videos. And man, I'm so much happier. And like, I don't know. I think it's better for my channel. I think, I try not to put any shit. And that's the other thing is like, at one point I was like, oh, I got to post every day, all the time. And it's just like, well, if it doesn't make me laugh or cry when I'm writing it, or like when I'm writing the post or when I'm like creating the post, then what the fuck am I doing? Like, don't post it. Wait until tomorrow or go write a song, do something else.
Yeah. Do you think Facebook is pretty much run its course? It's like it's kind of hit its dead end. Do you think? I feel like it's not a good place to hang out, as a person or an artist and whatever it might be. It's like a bit of a formality now, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think they're gonna stay alive because they have WhatsApp and they have Facebook Messenger, right? So I don't think it's completely dead, but I think Facebook, as we know it, is dead, or dying. And I mean, it's been dying for a while. It's just like that. Recently, we saw a big drop. The whole metaverse thing. Maybe they'll be okay with that. Because not everybody's going to exit. Some people are going to stay, and those people they're going to be the ones that are willing to put on the Google glasses or the virtual reality thing 24 hours a day, right? So, I mean, I think they're dead for the average person. Do you know what I mean? Like the average person is tired of this shit, and so that gives me hope for Carol because I think people want to go back to the 90s. There's so many Canadians here and they're like, this is awesome over here. It's like the 80s or the 90s. Like the shops here, none of them have websites. You have to call them to ask them if they have like surfboards or whatever, what they have in stock. You have to call them. And so it's hilarious. Like everything's a lot slower, but everybody's happier. And I think that's what most people want. So they're going to get off of that. I mean, some people are going to go to TikTok, sure. But I don't know. That's maybe it's wishful thinking, but that's what I think.
Well, like I said, I was sort of trolling through your socials last night just to, do some research for today. And, you look at some of the touring you did in Carroll and some of the looks on people's faces that, you played in front of. If you go and like look at the happiness in people's faces, just that I don't want to sound lame here, but just the joy of you taking that to the people, like you can see it in their faces. That's not something you're going to get from an online interaction. Like you were there in person with them, playing music for them, and you can see the fun in their faces. I hope I'm explaining this properly, but I could see it. It's right there in the photo, and you can only get that from an in-person, I think, interaction. You can't get that any other way. And I hope we don't forget that as people, as humans.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a story about that. So, there's this one place that we played in Regina called Rebellion Brewing, and it was right before a football game. So there was a bunch of people in their jerseys, and everybody's drinking, obviously. And this one guy is being like, he's had a few, and he's just kind of not banter, but he's heckling us. He's heckling us a little bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys better be good." Blah blah blah. What is this? What are you doing? He's kind of like All right, here we go. Like kids with their fucking rock and roll bus. And dude, by the time we were done, like he asked for an encore, and he gave us $100. And he literally came up to me, shook my hand, and the tough guy. Like he didn't have tears in his eyes, but like if he could produce tears, there would have been one single tear on the side of his cheek. And he looked at me and he was like, "What you guys did here today is pretty special, and yeah, this is for you." And he just like kind of did the grandpa thing where he like passed me like $100 without anybody seeing him.
Yeah.
And that happened twice. Like the second time was even more intense than that. Like there's this bar manager who the typical hipster, like man bun and like button up shirt, 6'4", like taller than me. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard it all, buddy. You're a nice looking guy and a good elevator pitch, but like, I don't think it's going to happen." And anyways, I ended up convincing him. And he ended up meeting up with one of his friends he hadn't seen for 10 years because we were playing. Because this guy, he didn't even know I was walking by. He'd like left a tip in our thing and then was watching us. And they ran into each other and he was actually crying. He came back and he had tears in his eyes and he was like, "You guys did something I had never seen before tonight. And you made us feel like things were going to be okay when everyone thinks that they're not." And yeah, that's the difference between online and playing in front of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully in some way, that like that bar manager, he probably didn't even realize how much he needed that experience, maybe,
That's right. Yeah.
And yeah,
well,
hopefully...
and he thought he was going to get a terrible experience because we're just three hooligans in a stupid bus. Like we don't have any graphics on it. Like it looks like we're a garage band who's about to play like Nirvana before they were Nirvana. Yeah. And when we start playing like decent rock and roll and happy songs, not too loud, everyone's like, "All right."
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite songs off the new album is Queen's Way. And
cool.
There's a bit of a story behind that. Do you want to tell us about it before we go?
Yeah, man. So the story is that I moved to Kelowna about 7 years ago, and I tell the story pretty much every time we play it live. So anybody's heard it before. Yeah. It's not that surprising. But it's so good. You got to tell it for everybody that is only listening for the first time. So I moved to Kelowna about 6 or 7 years ago, and one day I was sitting at a bar. Like I didn't know a single person when I moved there, and one day I was sitting at this bar called O'Flanagan's, and I was by myself just having my beer, and it was karaoke night. And that's kind of how I was trying to meet people, just going out to karaoke and open mics. And with this one dude tapped me on the shoulder and asked me what I was doing sitting all by myself. And I told him, I was living outside of town. I was like getting a taxi to this bar every night. Well, not every night, but like a few times a week. And he's like, "Oh shit, you don't know anyone?" I think, "Well, come with me." And so he, pulls me up, and he knew everybody in the bar that night, man. Like karaoke night was him and his buddies from high school or wherever. And he introduced me to like 50 people. And so, from that day on, I had some friends, and that actually happened twice at that bar or in that city. Maybe the second time wasn't at that bar, but, so yeah, it's made a huge impact on me. Like I've tried to pass that forward, when I've seen people like at that bar, especially on open mic nights and stuff, sitting on their own. And, I've invited a couple people to our table now, and, and that's just how people are, they just, one single act of kindness from a stranger can really change the course of history.
Yeah. Again, just embracing each other as fellow humans and
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take much, and you know, you could find yourself on the next Carbons record. Who knows? You know, with your story of. But it doesn't
exactly.
take much, and you know, it goes a long way. Like you said, just a small touch of humanity, and you know, enough with this divisiveness and separating each other based on vaccination status or political beliefs and all this sort of crap. I know, you know, preaching to the choir
everything,
here,
man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's everything. It's just that this is the last piece of the puzzle, if you will. You know, it started with race and then gender and fucking whatever else. You know, it's just like, we're not separate. We're more alike. So, you know, stop dividing us into tribes and let's all come together. We're all individuals, and let's focus on things. Like, there was a hater today on one of my Facebook posts, and he basically he was talking about that 70s show, right? And how I need do you know that 70s show? So the father figure in the show, his name's Red, and he always says, like, that needs a swift kick in the ass. And so this guy disagreed with me and said that I needed a swift kick in the ass. And I was like, I like Red a lot. He's like one of my favorite characters from that 70s show. So we have that in common. I was like, cheers, bro. And like, if that guy had been in front of me, like, you know, he's probably going to be upset about that. But if he had been in front of me and I said that, like, tables would turn, and now we like both bond over that 70s show, because I watched it like religiously when I was growing up, and so we would have a laugh, right? And so that's why I actually made a bunch of posts this week as well. I took the like stay home sticker. I don't know if you saw it, but I took the stay home sticker and I wrote "don't" on top of it. And so all my stories right now say "don't stay home," and I did a pretty good job, I think, of like making it look like one sticker.
Yeah, I actually noticed that, and I was like, "What the hell is this? Where did he pull this from?" So yeah, no, definitely, it looks legit. Looks legit. Very good. Well played,
man. Well, I believe in it, man. I mean, if you want to stay home, stay home. Like, it's not an order, obviously, but like, don't give into this anymore. Like, it's time to get out of your house and see what's real, you know?
Yeah. I agree. Well, thank you, Tomy, for coming on again today. It's been good to chat. And where can people find you? Where's the best place to find you and the Carbons?
The best place is Spotify. The second best place is YouTube. But if you don't have either of those, we're pretty much everywhere. If you Google the Carbons, you have to put the. All of our stuff will show up. We got a website as well, thecarbons.ca. So any of those will do.
Yep. Yeah. Well, chuck all the links in the show notes, including maybe your personal Instagram, where you share more of your surfing and poetry and stuff like that, which is really cool. So, Thanks, man. You got quite a journey ahead of you this year. So I think everyone should jump on, and that's the best place to see what Tomy and the Carbons are up to this year, touring around in Carroll. I hope it goes well for you guys, and I hope you can get back to Canada. Hope you can get your country back.
No more politics once we get our freedom back. So come on, join the ride. It's going to be fun and games and lots of talks about. I like what's his name, Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler. We always do memes about them. That's funny. Yep. Yeah. Cool. So.
Thanks, Tomy. Good to chat again, man. And
good chatting with you, man.
Let's do this.
Stay free. Stay free. That's what I'm saying now.
Yeah, it's simple but effective, and that's all we want, you know. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Tomy, and we'll catch you again soon for another episode of Foxx on the Wire. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.